some residents have reached out to Hudson County TV and have expressed a concern about the constitutionality of what the ordinance means. Now, could you provide some clarity? Because again, there seems to be speculation as to what part of the ordinances are unclear and ambiguous. Residents want to know exactly what exactly is going to be permissible.
Let me first start to tell you why the change. Number one, that ordinance has been in place before I was even the mayor. What we're trying to do is there are changing times, but we're trying to make sure that the town is uniform in compliance. Whereas, I'll give you an example. About a week ago, I had a gentleman that came in, owner of a business, had a new tenant. The tenant wanted to use the pre-existing 120-foot sign. And I said to him, you know what, that's not, it's not allowed here in West New York. So what had happened in the past, the mistakes that were done in the past, I want to make sure we correct it and follow the current guidelines to make sure that we have uniformity in this town. As you are aware, West New York is going to be in this scene, I would say in this stage of the world with this Formula One coming. So I want to make sure that if we have a lot of investors coming to this town, that they see a place where it's a place for work, a place for family to do business. So that's what I'm trying to do. Make sure this town looks good.
Well, Mayor, there are certain elements I just want to make sure that we can obtain clarity in regards to. This is the preliminary ordinance that so far we've seen. Issues such as flags, banners, and pennants. What can you elaborate on that? Because when you look at just at that base language.
Okay, exactly. When I say flag, for sure I am not talking, nor the commissioners are talking about the American flag. What we're saying is a business flag. So in other words, if you have a taco selling location and you decide to put a 100-foot poster that resembles, the size of
what's a banner or a pennant, right?
Yeah,
okay.
Exactly. If you do that, I'm going to tell you this is not acceptable in this town. So we're going to have you meet the code. The American flag, as you know, I just retired 36 years in the United States Army defending this country. To me, the American flag is something sacred. My brothers and sisters in the armed forces have died to defend that flag. So I hold that flag dear to me. And so the American flag, at no time would we ever thought or implicated that this pertains to the American flag. It doesn't. This is just for business flags.
Right. Well, Mr. Mayor, again, I don't want to dissect the ordinance per se. I mean, I don't want it to be this lengthy. However, but just certain things that catch my mind, such as neon signs, looking at portable signs, bench signs, inflatable signs.
Sure.
Correct me if I'm wrong. I mean, those sort of elements seem to be very customary for local businesses. Okay. And are you saying that local businesses are not going to be able to use those type of advertisements, which are very prevalent?
No. What I'm saying is, when you say neon signs, or they have to follow the ordinance. And if the ordinance says a certain measurements, then I have no problem with it. What I'm saying is, if something that is outrageously huge, and they decide to put it in their store, of course we're not going to let them do that. Okay. Again, it's just all about keeping uniformity in this town.
I mean, you understand that, let's say, with public transportation, we have buses and even taxis that carry advertisements and carry signs and things of that nature. So, again, not just from a residential perspective, but also business owners have also expressed concerns about what this ordinance would mean. Ultimately, and my bigger question is that there seems to be this idea out there in regards to either mobile vehicles or standing signs that may be advocating some sort of message. As we all know, the residents for a better West New York have been heavily campaigning in this town about suggesting and trying to recommend to residents to sign petitions about the change of government. Now, these mobile vehicles have faced some scrutiny. Some would say that this is a political move against that specific organization. What can you tell us about that?
Well, first, I don't even know who this group is. I just hear one name. And I like to sit down with this individual so he can tell me what he needs me to do here in West New York. We need to work as a team. But as far as I heard, he doesn't even live here in West New York. So I need to talk to him, see what his movement is, which is, I only seen one person so far represented by him. But I like to listen. We all work together. So if he has a problem with the administration, or he has a problem about a change, sometimes, listen, we got to work, and I'll listen to him. So he's welcome to come in. The doors are open, and sit down with me. But I'm going to say to you, if you have a mobile vehicle and you have a boom box next to that mobile vehicle, and you parked in front of a store, and you blasting away, and you creating a traffic nuisance or a safety hazard, I'm not going to allow that.
Okay, Mr. Mayor, you do understand though that the appearance looks as if this may be politically motivated because of what this specific organization is doing.
Well,
some residents would say the timing on this is very conspicuous. So that's what we're trying to obtain here.
I'm going to say to you that I had residents and owners coming to me and complain about that boom box being next to their business and disrupting the flow of their customers. So is it acceptable to them? Of course not. Again, we need to work together, and if he has a problem, have him come in. Listen, I like to work in harmony, and we're trying to grow this town. As you are aware, 2014 is coming. I got to prepare West New York for the world. We're going to be at the scene of the world, and we need to make it happen. And it takes leadership, and that's what we're doing. I'm focusing now not on the politics, like you're saying. I'm focusing on governing, making sure that our children receive the proper education, the proper security, and we have police officers in their school system. We're trying to keep the town clean. This is the second time consecutive that we have lower taxes. We have reduced the budget. I mean, we're working, we're governing, and I'm leading by example.
Okay. Well, again, Mr. Mayor, and just sort of your previous point about, again, there seems to be some voices indicating that this could be political. I'm not saying it's political, but
I understand.
some residents would say that it could be political. Should this face a legal battle, what are the town's chances of winning this in the sense of that some advocates, some First Amendment advocates would argue that this is infringing upon First Amendment exercise? What can you say about that?
I think you're asking a legal conclusion, and while the mayor would give it to you, I don't think it's very appropriate to ask that question.
Okay, well, again, the only reason I ask is because residents have reached out, and again, we've seen the media coverage from everything from the Huffington Post to local media making an issue about this case. So I'm just simply asking that if this faces a legal battle, let's say if someone decides to a lawsuit, how would the town respond?
My first response will be, I'll always avoid a fight. I would try to peacefully sit down with the individual, because I only heard there's one individual so far behind what he's putting together, which I just became aware of it about 2 days ago. So if he decides to sit down, I'll sit down with him. If there are more, I will sit down with them also. The idea is not to spend taxpayers' monies in fights. We don't want to do that. We'll sit down with him. Again, I hear he's not even from West New York. So if he has a beef, maybe in his town, this is run a different way, he could tell me, and I'll sit down with him, we could talk about it.
Mr. Mayor, are there going to be any revisions to this initial ordinance right now? Again, as you've explained, issues such as flags and banners, because I'm sure at the next commissioners meeting, this will certainly be discussed, and I'm sure residents will have something to say about it.
I'll tell you what I'd like to do. Maybe you could discuss it with my town attorney, Gilberto Garcia. He could tell you what we're planning to do. But again, this is a necessity. This has been asked by other shop owners to make this happen, and I'm complying because I work for the taxpayers.
Okay. Well, again, Mr. Mayor, we're just trying to get clarity here because, again, as we know, the media coverage has been intense the last 24 hours about it.
And I welcome the media coverage, and I'm going to say, as a patriot and prior serviceman, this is in no way meant for the American flag. I will die for this country.
Okay. And it's also not an infringement on any sort of First Amendment exercise. It's just more about quality of life issue. Yeah. Is that what you're implying?
To me, democracy is great. As you know, I came from Cuba at age 11. This is the best country in the world. This is the last frontier. This is the country that we have to protect. So I'm here for democracy, the American way, and in no way would I ever allow anybody to infringe on other people's rights.
Okay. Well, Mr. Mayor, thank you for the clarity, and we'll see how this goes moving forward.
Thank you so much for coming.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor.
Thank you.